All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Miss Tia Mowry. Okay, so of course she has a new show, and I'm looking over here at my notes, just so I won't forget the few questions that I wanted to ask Spirit. Okay, so of course she has a new show, and is pretty much documenting her life. Fast forward after the divorce from her husband Corey, and just kind of navigating her life and learning how to, I guess, learn herself and be more comfortable with herself. Now, for me, I feel like this is an interesting point for Tia because, I believe she has confirmed that she's always been with someone. And we'll kind of get into that within the reading. So let's just go ahead and get started. Then we could be able to talk about certain things as well. So, the first question is, how is the relationship with her and Corey right now? I know everybody want to get down to the nitty gritty. How is the relationship with her and Corey now? So I think their divorce took about a year, year and a half. It's been, I think, a year and a half or 2 years. But, I know maybe it was probably shaky in the beginning, of course, just trying to navigate that, especially if they've been together for such a very long time. As she stated, they dated. I think that was like her first real boyfriend. She also revealed that that was her first everything. So first kiss, she lost her to him. Um, just everything. So, of course, me being a woman and understanding the emotional aspect of it and understanding the connection and how when we connect with people, how it creates bonds and ties. It does that for everyone, but since we're more in tune, since we are, I guess you would say, the species who are nurturing, we're very intuitive, just sharing our energy with people, it makes it very difficult to kind of pull back. Now, there's an exception for everyone because somebody's going to be like, I'm not like that. Okay, I'm not talking about you. But in general, as women, if we spend our time, our energy, our support, our love, and we pour everything into an individual, of course, it's going to be difficult for us to pull back because we have put everything into it. Okay. So with her, being with him young and then losing or sharing or giving parts of herself to him, and him being her first, then of course it may have been very difficult. It may have been a little bit mentally confusing, and just try to sort out emotions, mental state, and different things like that when you're trying to separate yourself. And then being with someone, and that may be the only person that you've been with, you have to learn who you are now at this point, as opposed to being defined by wife, mother, and being with this individual, because you merge your life. And so you become almost this whole individual with another person. But now, since you're separating yourself from what you've intermingled, then it's difficult sometimes for people to understand who they are, what they need, what they don't need. Just everything, right? So let's go ahead and shuffle the cards here. So go back to the question. Will they ever get back together? How's their relationship now, and will they ever get back together? All right. A few more shuffles. All right. One more. Let's see what we got. One more good shuffle here. All right. Let's see. Perception. All right. Y'all see that? It's the first card that came out here. We have the masculine energy in the reverse. This is interesting. And we have the omens card in reverse. Let's stop right here. First thing that I'm getting from this, there's still a lot of gray area. There's still a lot of red tape for them to kind of separate, and kind of fully understand. Okay, remember what I just said about two people being in a relationship for many years and merging their lives as one and bringing their lives together and experiencing different things together, whether it's ups and downs, good or bad, you have merged, okay? Um, and so, whether you say your experiences are quote unquote good or bad, it's the fact that so much of your time, energy, and life has been invested into this relationship or into this marriage, and that's what you know. Okay. So when you begin to separate everything now because of a said divorce, you have to sift through everything and understand, well, why is this here? Why do I feel like that? Why does he feel like that? How did we get to this point? Why is this misunderstood? There are certain intricate things that you have to pick through to kind of understand. And it's not something that you can understand overnight. It may not be something that you can just really understand yourself. You know how sometimes you're in a relationship and say, for instance, the other person does something or you may do something, but let's just say the other person does something, right? Or they cheat or whatever. And you have so many questions, right? And you grill them and you ask so many questions and they may agree to answer any and all of your questions. And once you ask all of the questions that you thought you asked, it still leads to more questions, right? And it's like you're never satisfied, right? So it's almost like that when you start to sift through everything that was in that marriage or that relationship over a 14, 15, 16, 17 year span, right? There are certain things that now you look at and analyze and you're like, okay, so why was it like this? Why is this so? You know what I mean? Okay, there we go. It kind of froze for a little bit. I can understand why we had issues in this area, okay? Because I am recording this live. Um, so that's why you have this omen cards, and I'm starting from the back. So this is why it's in a reverse. So, you know, initially if it's upside down, sometimes people view this as, oh, this is negative. Oh, this is, it's just things coming out of the closet, things that can potentially make the relationship a little bit difficult, or it can kind of set things back on, I guess, coming to terms or coming together. But it's something that needs to be hashed out in order to resolve things. Sometimes, a lot of times in relationships, when there's a breakup, there needs to be some type of resolve, usually for one or both parties to be able to move on, especially if they really care for one another. Now, if you have a partner that really didn't care, they was just dogging you out, they don't need no resolve. But for two people who genuinely did care about each other despite certain differences or different things like that, of course they may both need certain resolve to be able to move on, get a better understanding, and sometimes in the future in another relationship, even if they don't get back together in a romantic relationship, later on down the line they understand the importance of, you know, rectifying certain issues in their previous relationships so they won't bring it into their new relationship. Okay. Now you have this masculine energy in the reverse. This was the second card that was pulled out. This is very interesting to me because I get two different things from this. Okay. Number one, um, I feel like let's go towards Tia. I feel as if for her as being a very we perceive her from what we've seen over the years, we perceive her as a very outspoken person, someone who is very bubbly, someone who has a voice, is not afraid to use their voice, someone who is not afraid to just kind of be out there and be themselves and put their energy out there. This is very interesting because this shows that at some point in time she felt as if she had to pull back on who she was, but then on the flip side, he also felt like his was may have been minimized, right? So when you look at this masculine energy card, people always say, oh, where a woman is being too masculine or shit. This represents her side of being assertive or really just being outspoken and really expressing herself. And sometimes in certain relationships, that could be okay, and sometimes it not, depending on the person that you're with. because sometimes the person that you with may have certain insecurities, or they may really feel a certain way about how they're being presented or their image. And so you being outspoken or you being this certain way may dim their light, or it shows that you exert more authority over them. And not to say that Tia was that way, but at certain point in times, he may have felt like that. Okay, that's what that's saying. And then for him, this card came out because he may have felt a little bit emasculated, because there are certain things within the relationship that he felt like he wanted to do or could have done better or could have provided to her, but he was unable to do so at that time. And so that's why you have that masculine energy card in reverse. Okay, so that's some things that they have to sort through. You know, when you kind of get through all the fussing and the fighting and the cussing and all that kind of stuff, and y'all really kind of sit down with each other and be like, what happened? Where did we go wrong? And y'all start sipping out different things, and you're like, you know, I really felt this way at this point in time. And the other person is like, wow, I didn't know you felt like that. Or I didn't know because of certain things that I did, it produced this feeling from you or made you feel this type of way. You know what I mean? So like I said, there's a lot of things that they need to sift through in order to produce or bring complete resolve to their relationship. And then you have the perception card. Because right now, I think they're at a surface level. You know, they're able to stand one another. They're able to be around one another. I do feel as if the love is not lost. I think that both of them, I still feel love between both of them. Okay. You know, some relationships break up and one or both persons like, I hate you. Okay. Like, get the out my face. I don't ever want to see you again. I don't want to be around you. Drop the kids off at a medium ground and I don't even want to see you. You know what I mean? It's some relationships like that. But for them, you know, I don't know how their dynamic is with sharing the children. If, you know, each other, you know, they drop, you know, the children off at each other and they actually meet and greet each other or coordinate, or if there's a middle person, who knows. But regardless of that, I feel as if both of them still have a type of love for each other. Um, and I think that's the push of wanting to find a level of peace and resolve within the demise of the relationship. Okay. Um, and I think for Tia, but also Corey, both individuals are at a point of learning themselves and finding themselves separate of each other, and not being a couple, but who am I solely, individually, myself? Who am I? You know, standing on your own. Now, Tia has been able to do that, I guess, in the forefront, in, I guess, the business or the media side. But as far as personally, like she stated in her show, you know, she's never been alone, right? Um, and that means, you know, even though she's always had a twin, people are like, what do you mean she's never been alone? Okay, she's never been alone per se. Not that she's, you know, had to do things by herself. Um, she's never been alone, as saying that she's always had someone with her, almost like a built-in buddy, because she has a twin, right? So your twin is always with you, especially if you're close with your twin. So they acted together, they grew up together, grew through adolescence together, talked about, relationships, and had children and got married, she's always had somebody. And then once she met Corey, then she was able to nourish that relationship and have another relationship, right? So she has her siblings, her twin sister, her parents, her husband, and whoever else that may be close to them in their inner circle. But for the most part, she's always had, a tribe, or, that closeness. So now when all of that appears to be broken down, it's like, okay, I'm alone now. I'm used to always having someone with me, you know. Um, so it can be extremely difficult to navigate that, um, living alone, doing certain things that you normally would do with a significant other or a spouse, and now you're doing it alone. Or even the fact that when you come home, even if they've been out on tour or been out on, work assignment or different things like that, when they're coming home and you coordinate certain things, but it's like now it's a totally different life. You have to adapt. So your foundation has been broken. And so the fact is you have to build a new foundation and find out what works for you. And how do you find out what works for you? You have to understand who you are. And how do you understand what you are? You got to dig deep. And then you got to figure out the negatives and the positives. So then that opens up a can of worms. And then you have healing to do. Then you have some crying. And then you have some doubt. And then you have all these different things, right? So I think this is the point that she's at. But I feel like that she will eventually be able to find an area of peace. One thing that I have noticed on social media can be some bush. Okay? Like, the grief that she gets with women and a lot of men about, well, she should have stayed with her husband. If it's that hard, she should have stayed. No, the hell she should not. If she felt like this relationship ran its course, if he felt like the relationship ran its course, if she felt like it just was not working anymore, why the would she want to stay? Y'all advocate for people to stay in relationships that don't even no longer serve them or work for them at that point. Just because you can say, well, she needed to stay with her husband. Well, she needed to stay for the kids. One thing about that is children are very perceptive, they're intuitive, they understand more than you think, they feel more than you think. So if you're in a relationship that is dead, has run its course, that no longer serves you, the children can pick that up. Now, you can say for us to stay in this relationship, we just want to keep our family together, but is it best for you to keep a relationship together just because you want both of y'all in the same household? Or would it be better to separate and find cohesion and peace and co-parent in a peaceful manner and both of you have peace of mind? So just keep that in thought, right? You have this perception card. So this is the yin and yang. So this just kind of sums up everything that I said about she has a lot of internal work to do about herself. At some point in time, I feel like she's lost herself, and that may have been in the marriage. A lot of times women do that. They devote themselves to their spouse, their children, their work, and different things like that. They're labeled as that, but then who they truly are deep inside, sometimes they always feel as if there's something missing, or what's my true purpose? Or, your work could also be intertwined with your purpose, but it's not necessarily always together. So you may be working, you may be making money, you may be married, you may have children, all these different things, but you still feel like, what is my purpose? Something is missing. I think this is what this represents for her. She's looking for deeper meaning in spirituality and life and in herself. She wants to dig deeper. A lot of people don't want to do that because they don't want to, like I said, tear up the foundation or shake things up. People would just rather stay where they are. They don't want to start over. They rather just stay. But there are some brave people who decide to knock all that shit down. And they're ready for growth and for their purpose to be revealed and really walk in their purpose and different things like that. This also represents the coming together of the yin and yang, the masculine and feminine, even being at odds. You know what I mean? So like I said, it just kind of comes together with, I think eventually they will be able to come together on a deeper level, really understand, find some resolve issues that they have between one another. Now, will they get back together? Let's pull these confirmation cards right here. Okay. Will they get back together? Do a few more shuffles. May pull one or two cards. Will they get back together? So that's basically kind of understanding their relationship. Will they get back together? Weakness. What that mean? Hold on. Let's pull another card. Crossroads in a reverse. Family in a reverse. Resurrection. Let's pull one more just for good measure. Death in the reverse. Hold on, let's put one more, child. Not that serious. When I get back together, let me put this disclaimer. Everything is subject to change. Everybody has free will. There are certain things that can influence different thoughts, situations, and different things like that. At this point, it doesn't look like it. I think like I said before, this resurrection card, I think that they'll be able to work through some of the issues that they've had with each other and in the marriage and different things like that. But you have this family in reverse. You have this crossroads in reverse. You have weakness. I think at some point in time, now this is not to say that they might not mess with each other on the side or be like, shit, why don't we do this? Why don't we get back together? And they're like, They kind of find out we good as being separated. We good as friends. But, you know, it was good at that point in time. It was good. We made good music together at this point in time. So does it look like they'll get back together anytime soon? According to these cards at this point, I don't think so. But they may mess around. Okay? But, I mean, they were once married. They got children together. They're going to forever be connected. So could you blame them? You know, that's the person that you feel like you can trust, especially if, you know, you feel as if deep down inside this person is a good person. Like I said, y'all didn't have too many, like, major issues. Like somebody was cheating, abuse, different things like that. But y'all kind of grew apart. The relationship grew apart. There were certain things that y'all couldn't work out. Okay, understandable. And as you find resolve, then y'all can be able to kind of like, you know, chill with each other, different things like that. So will they mess around? More than likely, probably so. Okay. The family card is in reverse, so like I said, it doesn't look like they'll get back together, but I think they'll find some resolve. Resurrect a good friendship. Yeah, the death card in reverse, and you have the not that serious card. Like I said, they may mess around, but I don't think they'll get back together, especially not anytime soon or at this time. So, other than that, life lessons look like for both of them, just learning themselves. And I feel like this is a learning point for both of them of really just kind of understanding who they are as individuals, picking the pieces back up, learning who they are, and navigating this life as solo individuals at this point right now. You know what I mean? Mending their relationship, mending their friendship, and just kind of having peace and enjoying their life. Sometimes they'll have feelings of missing that old thing, but like I said, it was good in that period. They will probably mess around, but not getting back together, especially anytime soon. So hope you enjoyed this reading. Peace.